So welcome. My name is Jarim Barani. I want us to discuss about what we call the final accounts. And under the final accounts, our topic today is on final accounts. And the final accounts that we want to talk about, majorly in our previous lesson, in our first lesson, I taught about the trading account. This time I want us to focus on, so in the first place we learned how to prepare the trading account, and then in our second place we are supposed to prepare what we call an income statement, or what we call the profit and loss account, And number three, under the financial statements of the final accounts, we are going to prepare what we call the balance sheet. A balance sheet, in other words, is called a statement of financial position. A statement of financial position. So these are the three statements that you are going to prepare under the final accounts, and I will begin with the first statement that you are supposed to prepare. You are supposed to prepare what we call a trading account, and under the trading account, we specifically talked about what we call the sales and the purchases. So we are mainly concerned with the purchases and the sales that a business makes. And when it does the sales and the purchases, out of the sales and purchases, we are supposed to arrive at what we call the gross profit, or what we call loss. A gross profit or a loss. How do we determine the gross profit or loss? This one is simply given by the net sales. You less what we call cost of sales. That's how we determine the gross profit or the gross loss for a business. Then we are supposed to prepare what we call an income statement, and an income statement is simply preparation or determination of the profit or loss a business will make at the end of the year. So with this illustration, or what we are supposed to prepare now, I'm going to focus my lesson today on the income statement. I want to show you how to prepare the income statement. Allow me to erase what we have on the board, and then we focus our interest on the income statement. So with the income statement, it applies to both to the non-profit making organization, to a sole proprietor, to the partnership accounts, and also to the companies. This time I want to do the general income statement, whereby you are supposed to know the format. I will give you the format, and in our next class I will come with an illustration question so that we can handle it. For today, allow me to give you the format or guide you on how to prepare the income statement, inclusive of what is supposed to be posted in the income statement. An income statement, again, you always begin by the format. The format of the income statement, you begin with the name of the business, or the individual who is preparing this document. Then you are preparing a document known as an income statement, and it is prepared at the end of the year. Income statement for the period ended, and this period is majorly in years for the period ended. So this period that has ended is majorly a financial year. When you're preparing the income statement, I have adopted the vertical format of preparing the income statement. You have the currency column here, the first currency column there, and then you have another currency column there. For you to prepare the income statement, we put into consideration two major items. That is, we consider the expenses and the incomes of the business. We consider the expenses and incomes of the business. Expenses and the incomes of the businesses. Out of this, we are supposed to determine what we call the net results. So I begin with the first entry. If there was a gross profit brought down, so the first entry is the gross results that are brought down. So the gross profit or loss, you can either attain a gross loss or a profit. The gross profit or loss brought down. If it is a loss, it is posted in. If it is a loss, it is posted with brackets, and if it is a profit, it is always posted without the brackets. So this is a gross profit. This gross profit or loss that is brought down from the trading account is the first item that is fed into the income statement. You add to it, you are supposed to add to the gross profit or loss, you add any gains. So any gains that you get, or any revenue, or you can call them incomes. When you add any revenue or income to this, you arrive at now what you call the gross income or total income. So the total income that you arrive at here, total or gross income or loss. You may either get an income or a loss. So the income that you get, if it is a gain or an income, it is always left open, and if it is a loss, you always put it into bracket. Then to the gross income or the gross loss that you have obtained, you are supposed to less the different types of expenses that a business incurs. So we call them expenses, or we call them costs. So these expenses are categorized into three. We have the first category of expenses. We always account for the office and administration expenses. And a good example is like office rent. And that amount is posted there. Another example of office expense, we can have office, electricity, and so many other expenses that are related to the office and administration. Then to these expenses, after you have added the office and administration expenses, the second expense that we also add here is what we call the selling or the sell and distribution expenses. Sell and distribution expenses or the cost. The selling and distribution expenses, we have a number of them. So just examples of them, we can have advertisement. We can have the salesman commission. These are just few examples of the selling and distribution expenses. Then to the selling and distribution expenses, you are supposed to add the third category, which we call the financial charges. We call them the financial charges. So for the financial charges, these are the charges like interest charge, like the depreciation, that falls under the financial charges. So if you have any depreciation, that one is posted there as a very good example of a financial charge. Any interest that is paid, again, is a financial charge. Any interest paid, that one is a financial charge. These are very good examples of the office selling and distribution plus the financial charges. When you add all these costs or these expenses, you are supposed to arrive at the final figure, which we now call this one the total expenses. We call this the total expenses, and these total expenses you are supposed to deduct them from what you have received here as your gross income, and when you less this from the gross income, you arrive at a figure known as either a net loss or a net profit. If it is a negative figure, that one is a net loss. If it is a positive figure, it gives you a net profit. So the result is either a net loss or a net profit. So that is how we prepare an income statement, and this is just a skeleton or the format of how you prepare the income statement. There are some adjustments that we shall come to do in the income statement, but before we get to that, I want you to adopt this format. I want you to look at it. I want you to go through it once again. Look at the examples of office and administration expenses, including the selling and distribution expenses, financial charges. Go and know what they are. After you have ascertained or you have understood what these expenses are, then you are supposed to less them from the revenues or the gross income or loss that you have gotten. If you arrive at a gross loss and you get the expenses, a gross loss is a negative figure. When you add the expenses, you arrive at a net loss. If you had gross income and you less the expenses, you'll arrive at the net profit. That is how we simply prepare what we call an income statement, or the format of an income statement is well demonstrated here. If there's any question, you can write on the comment tab that you have on your YouTube channel. So thank you for your time. Again, I'm called Mr. Jerry, and thank you for listening to me and having good time with you in this lesson. Hope to see you in our next lesson, whereby we shall do an illustration on the income statement and see how we do most of the adjustments after we have done one or two examples. And with that said, I wish you nice time. Thank you, and remember to subscribe to my channel. Any comment, if you've liked my content, if you have gotten it beneficial to you, please add your comment to my YouTube channel so that we can continue learning and increase the knowledge that we have gotten out of this. And have a good time. Thank you.